Alright, so I have this plant that grows out near my house. It's called Rabbitbrush. It's part of a group of plants that grows in the shrub steppe area. And it was kind of fun today. I went to take some pictures of the entire bush that grows kind of in a clump, about, I'd say, 3 feet tall. And this is one of the branches. As I was walking towards it, a rabbit actually jumped out of the bush, so it is a nice hiding place for our rabbits. I'm going to investigate this branch here. It's pretty long, maybe over a foot long, and it's got these leaves that don't match up, so every other one here. They kind of curl. It's kind of cool. And as I get closer here, then we have some branches that come off and then have little flowers on the end. These are closed. These are kind of open, and these are very open. Very, very tiny petals. Very, very tiny petals. Beautiful wildflower. All right, so this plant is much bigger than my page, but let's kind of show the shape of this thing. And I'm really having to turn it with my left hand, but kind of show that it curves a little bit there. I'm gonna go lightly with my pencil, and so I followed this curve of this leaf around like that. I'm just gonna go lightly with my pencil right now. I'm gonna come back with some colored pencil. I kind of get the shape here. I better stop there and get the shape here. So the pencil from here to here kind of goes that shape. So let's kind of outline a basic area where I can then put the flower in. I think it's making curious to know if I'm allergic to this plant. So then I know to keep it kind of confined into that space. So that's going to help that this space is much larger than this very thin branch. And the bush seems to be made of many, many, many of these thinner branches that are soft and supple, kind of woody, but not too tree-like. So let's go ahead and I was looking at my sketchbook and I was thinking, how can I show someone looking at this that I'm actually zooming in on it? And I decided I would put a magnifying glass in here. Not sure that looks exactly like a magnifying glass. I had to kind of think about maybe what it looked like. But I think for our purposes, it works pretty good. I did go to a couple sources online and found out that the Rabbitbrush, Eric Cameria, nauseous rabbitbrush from the aster family. It's also called golden bush. And I found out that a lot of wildlife like to eat its leaves and seeds and little flowers. So it's good to feed deer and antelope and elk, birds, small animals. Like I said yesterday, when I was picking this off the bush, then I saw a little rabbit go off the other side. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to look up a couple reference photos of a rabbit and go ahead and include him probably in this drawing over here. So let me talk about this over here. So what I did was I used my watercolor pencil and put in kind of a light watercolor background, and then I'm deciding if I'm going to use pen or ink or marker or what I'm going to use here to make it look like the whole bush, because here's just a branch, here's the whole bush in its habitat. So I did a little research, and looked at a lot of images of hand-drawn illustrations of jackrabbits as well as finding a picture of a real one. So I put it up here on my iPad. I wanted one that looks like it is crouching underneath or near my rabbit brush on this side. So this is the one I'll be using as my reference. That kind of oval shape here, very long ears. Do a little measurement there from the top of the head to the nose at that angle. Those ears are longer than the size of this guy's head. He's kind of crouched at a 3/4 angle, so that'll be kind of interesting. But I'm picking up kind of a circle shape here to show the chest cavity here, and then maybe a circle shape here. Very difficult to see the legs, but I'm not going to worry about rendering a perfect drawing. Just one to talk about the Rabbitbrush. All right, here we go. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. So this bush that's outside my house is probably 3 feet tall. So we're gonna put him, I got a little white space here. Maybe I'm gonna put him here. So let's go ahead and test. So that would be like the top of the ears there. And then we said the head. I'm just gonna, sometimes I worry about it being too perfect when really I just need to kind of get started. All right, so let's add a little paint color. So I've got kind of a brush set here, and let's see, over here on the side of the tray, that's a kind of a rusty brown color that kind of matches maybe the inside of that ear. Kind of see what that might look like there. Add that in there. Just give him a little bit of color. That might be a little too red for what I'm looking for. So, oh, I don't have a cloth nearby, but maybe I can pick a little bit of that up with my fingers. I'm going to re-wet it and actually blot that out. Alright, so I'm just adding just a little bit of that kind of yellow color. This sort of observational type painting just is super fascinating. All the things I'm learning just by discovering it through my journal. I'm so glad I decided to draw and paint and kind of look at things that are right in my own backyard. So I can learn about this sort of environment. Oops. That was a definite oops there. This isn't great watercolor paper that I'm using. It's a nice sketchbook. Has a lot of good qualities, but oftentimes if I put down like a little black like that, I can lift it with just some water and move it. But this doesn't want to move that much, so it's going to be what it's going to be. At this point, I don't want to switch out sketchbooks. I want to stay with this sketchbook here. Okay, so okay, so this is what I have so far in my journal. This will be sort of my sketch of this rabbit brush that's outside of my house. it's a lot of detail, so I'm going to keep it very more simple and just sort of describe the kind of messiness of this bush and the brilliance of the yellow flowers versus sort of that sagey green down in there. And then of course I've got my little jackrabbit there in front. Alright, so I'm going to set up the picture in a way that I can see it really, really well. Okay, so I can see that, and so I've got some blue areas that I've already put in. I was trying to describe maybe where some of those shadows would be. So I've gone back and added some more detail at this zoomed in portion or close up. I see I made a little mistake. I had that come over the top of that. I don't know if I can get rid of that or not. But I did want to mention a lot of my students that I worked with in the past, I might say to them, well, here we have these yellow petals, and how can I get those yellow petals to stand out? So they have to think about the color wheel, and I might lead them to talking about the color wheel, and they'll mention maybe the primaries and the secondaries, and then one of them always will think, oh, the opposite, which is the complement. So the complement of yellow is violet or purple. So instead of using black to outline or to add a little shade and shadow, choose your complementary color to kind of, if you want things to stand out just a little bit more. So with this group of these petals, I want the viewer, the person looking at my journal, to understand that at the very end, at the very end of the very tip of these flower clusters are these just little tiny star-shaped groupings. Here in Wenatchee, I went to WenatcheeNaturalist.com, and Susan Bollinger has great resources and information on the shrub steppe and everything that's located in this immediate area. So that was a very, very good resource for me. I don't think I'm going to work on this anymore. I think this is enough to have learned a little bit about the Rabbitbrush and something that's in my backyard and something about the habitat. And so I've met my goal, and this is not artwork that's meant to be hung on the wall or anything grand like that, but just a sketch journal where I'm just keeping notes and researching things that are in my backyard. So thanks for joining me today.